wilderness crisis is not a religious war, but a national security emergency rooted in terrorism and criminality.
Executive Secretary, Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission, refused President Trump's allegations, says Christian and Muslim leaders are working closely to foster peace. Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation holds retreat for heads of agencies. And 16 governorship candidates in Anambra State sign peace accord. Hello and many thanks for joining us on the news desk at 3 on NTA News24. We are broadcasting live from Abuja. I am Chinenye Mwe. The Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission, Bishop Stephen Adewite, says that Christian leaders are working closely with their Muslim counterparts under the Nigeria Interreligious Council in fostering peace and mutual understanding amongst Nigerians. Bishop Adewite, while reacting to the recent remark by the U.S. President Donald Trump that Christian genocide is taking place in Nigeria and that the United States may take military action, he notes that both faiths have been victims of the insurgents in the past years.
Nigeria is a complex multi-ethnic democracy with more than 220 million citizens and over 250 ethnic nationalities. It is home to Africa's largest Christian and Muslim population living side by side. Any reckless military action or misinformed intervention from abroad could destabilize the entire West Africa sub-region, triggering refugee crisis, economic collapse, and extremist resurgence. Nigeria's sheer population size and its ingenuity of its people means that instability here will ripple far beyond our borders, undermining peace, trade, and democracy across Africa. What we need is a strategic cooperation, not coercion.
Credible intelligence gathering is being identified as a key factor to improved security services and operations recorded against arms trafficking, banditry, kidnapping, and terrorism in the month of October. Kenneth Nanim reports that this was revealed at the monthly joint security briefing by the National Orientation Agency.
To maintain peace and order and unity that will engender national development, the military, the police, and other security agencies have been on the trail of criminal elements, making sure crime is prevented, culprits arrested, victims rescued, and stolen assets recovered. Statistics being made available for the month of October under review scores performances higher than the previous month.
A lot of arms and ammunition were seized during the month of September, but that rose significantly in the month of October. The ICPC performance in the month of October. 44 petitions were received, 15 investigations concluded, 5 new cases filed, and 2 convictions secured. DSS, police, and immigration services improved measurably in October, producing faster interdictions and fewer casualties.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the Nigeria Immigration Service, and the Federal Road Safety Corps, the EFCC, and the ICPC, amongst others, made significant breakthroughs in the month of October. Nigeria's name having been deleted from the Financial Action Task Force monetary list, Director NOA also noted as an indication of effort by the federal government to fight illicit financial flows.
Let me speak specifically to some of the imports of the tweets. One is to say there is a Christian genocide in Nigeria. And I'm sure even America knows that is not true. The United States commended Nigeria publicly for the arrest of 2 major terrorists.
To sustain the tempo, traditional rulers, religious leaders, and other citizens are enjoined to collaborate with security agencies by providing timely and credible intelligence that will help in addressing security challenges in the country. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
A 3-day performance management workshop is underway in Abuja for agencies under the Ministry of Interior. The training aims to strengthen efficiency, accountability, and measurable results across the paramilitary services. Victor Azu reports.
A new order is emerging in the Ministry of Interior, one where performance, not position, defines progress. This 3-day workshop brings together officers from the correctional, immigration, civil defense, and fire services to sharpen how they plan, measure, and deliver results. Whether on the front lines of security or behind administrative desks, the goal is to build a service culture where duty is matched by measurable outcomes.
You have to go down to your unit, to your department, to go and cascade this thing down.
I encourage you to make the most of this opportunity. I want you to listen attentively, engage fully, and reflect on how these principles can be applied in your everyday duties.
We will ensure that we engage actively and we achieve as much as we can, and it will serve as a learning curve for us all.
The essence of it is to really reduce the paperwork. In other words, transmitting to paperless regime.
For the Minister of Interior, it is a turning point, one that rewards diligence and results, not merely years in uniform.
Gone are the days when the only criteria for growth is seniority. Today, the major qualification, major criteria for growth is efficiency and performance.
As the workshop continues, participants are expected to translate this policy shift into daily practice because in public service, results, not rank, will now tell the story. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has called for calm among Nigerians, assuring that his government is taking concrete steps towards ensuring better security of lives and property of all citizens and residents in the country. The president conveyed the message through the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, and the Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, who just met with him in the State House. During the meeting, the Information Minister disclosed that the issue of the U.S. government threat of military action in Nigeria came up. The minister assured that the government is already ahead with steps to record greater results in the fight against insecurity. The federal government, in collaboration with health partners, has renewed its commitment to eliminating lead poisoning in Nigeria. The focus is on strengthening surveillance systems, reviewing existing regulations, and promoting sustainable interventions. These are among the key resolutions as Nigeria joined other countries around the world to commemorate National Lead Poisoning Elimination Day. Oluseyi Adiabo reports.
It's been 15 years since more than 500 children fell victim of suspected lead poisoning. Now the case has resurfaced. According to the Federal Ministry of Health, unsafe mining and ore processing practices in Zamfara State were identified as the source of the tragedy. So also is Sokoto State, where hundreds of children recently lost their lives over same deadly exposure. The need to end recurring incidents of lead poisoning remains a source of concern.
And then what is the role of the states in all this?
Discussions during the engagement focused on boosting public awareness about the causes and symptoms of lead poisoning and addressing funding gaps.
Much work remains to be done. And going forward, our focus will be to formally launch the National Lead Elimination Policy and strategic plan with clear targets and funding frameworks, expand diagnostic and laboratory networks of blood-led testing nationwide.
Of recent, we have started seeing a whole lot of lead being brought to the home, and that is the solar energy using batteries. What is inside every battery is lead. And in this process, you go to communities where they are being cannibalized. They break it down, pour it out. Every individual having contact to this lead is a potential poison. Then the toys, the plastic toys, the hardeners you use in plastic toys are lead also. When you expose little children to this lead, they put it in their mouth, they rub it over their body, you are equally adding lead. And like I said, the primary target of lead is the brain. It's neurotoxic. Once it affects the brain, it affects everything about that child.
The 2025 National Lead Poisoning Prevention Day themed No Safe Level, Act Now to End Lead Exposure brought together health partners who reaffirmed their renewed commitment to protecting all citizens, particularly children and pregnant women, from the dangers of lead poisoning. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
The 16 governorship candidates in the Anambra State off-cycle election and their political parties have reiterated their commitments to peaceful conduct before, during, and after the election come November 8. Their positions were made known at the signing of the peace accord which took place in Awka, the state capital. Onome Okadibo reports.
Of the accord is to commit the 16 contesting political parties and their governorship candidates participating in the election to accept the result of the election if adjudged to be free, fair and credible. The meeting further encouraged political parties to avoid statements that will incite violence before, during and after the election. The National Chairman INEC, Joash Ojo Anupiton, and the Inspector General of Police, who was represented, promised not to compromise the process and hailed the commitment of the National Peace Commission in ensuring peaceful elections in Nigeria.
Voters should therefore expect a significant improvement in election day logistics. Enhanced resource management process will also be evident. The Nigerian Police Force has developed an integrated intelligence-driven operational plan designed to prevent infractions, neutralize threats, and secure the election process.
Other activities that characterized the event was the reading of the peace accord and goodwill messages from election stakeholders.
Actually meant to encourage the political actors because we have to work diligently, confidently, and happily to make sure that democracy becomes believable, the democracy becomes credible. So the distinguished candidate and political parties, today's commitment is not in words only. It is a duty that calls for discipline, honor, and responsibility.
Is the consensus of the electorate in Anambra State that the best practices promised and assured by all stakeholders, especially governorship candidates, will reflect come November 8. In Awka, Onome Okadibo, NTA News.
This is the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. We'll take a break here. There'll be more reports when we return. This day.
Final sale of the year is here. This festive season, enjoy extra savings on luxury and comfortable sofa sets, modern and functional dining sets, sophisticated and smart bed sets, and our royal collections. Classy, premium, and truly exclusive. Shop 10 million Naira and receive a complimentary Daisy tea set. Spend 15 million and take home a 65-inch smart TV. Go higher at 20 million and experience unmatched comfort with our exclusive massage chair. Visit our showrooms in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, and Enugu, or shop online. It's big, it's bold, it's unforgettable. It's Baffy Furniture's legendary final sale of the year.
This is NTA News 24.
Many thanks for staying on. Political analysts have emphasized that the success of the forthcoming Anambra governorship election will largely depend on how effectively the trust deficit among voters is addressed and on the level of preparedness of the Independent National Electoral Commission. This was while discussing issues at the 2025 Anambra governorship election on NTA's program, Good Morning Nigeria. Ekemini Williams reports.
As Anambra State gears up for its upcoming election, a pre-election assessment conducted in August 2025 has raised significant concerns about the preparedness of the Independent National Electoral Commission, the effectiveness of voter education, and the persistent issue of insecurity in the state. Political analysts on the program made a call for immediate interventions to ensure credible and peaceful election in the state.
There is still this fear in HINEC, kind of when he discussed with his staffers. So we went again to ask about how they've been able to carry out the mandate of voter education, and we realized that voter education in many places were very urban. In the rural places, we realized that it hasn't really crept deep into those places. And, those sentiments were there. And there were even fears to go into places like Lilu, places like, Orumba, places like, Amoka and Asia, that were considered very hotspots of insecurity.
I think also the voter turnout, if the people of Anambra State are able to forego some of the misgivings they have about 2023 election, the outcome and the rest of them, and then turn out, be motivated enough to participate in the election, I think we are also going to have high voter turnout.
Speaking on the program, the experts note that while many voters often justify vote buying from candidates with the intention of still voting according to their conscience, such practices gradually erode moral judgment and undermine free choice at the polls. They cautioned voters in Anambra State against accepting money or inducements from politicians ahead of the forthcoming governorship election.
In the last two governorship election cycles in Anambra, I was there as a field observer. Vote buying was never an issue.
Don't tell me that there was no vote buying in Anambra. It has always been. We work with empirical evidence. It's not trying to paint pictures. This idea that, the economy is bad, so people should collect the money, after all, it's our money, is evil. We should not promote it.
If we don't actually provide stringent punishment for those who will try to mishandle or manipulate electoral processes in Nigeria, 10 years in prison, that would have been better. 20 million naira. This will actually disincentivize people from committing electoral fraud. Why? Because you find an individual who actually manipulate an election, 500,000 naira. What is that?
The guest called on relevant agencies and stakeholders to create a level playing field for all political actors and to prevent any misuse of state machinery that could undermine the credibility of the 2025 Anambra governorship election coming up this Saturday. In Abuja, Ekemini Williams, NTA News.
The Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation has convened a high-level strategic retreat for all heads of agencies, directing them to align their operations and accelerate the delivery of President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. The three-day retreat aims to devise mechanisms to ensure flawless implementation of government policies. Garba Natala reports.
Pressure continues to grow on the government that while the slow pace in delivering dividends of democracy regarding the standard of living and even developmental projects among other social amenities. Well, the retreat in there appears to respond to that pressure for agencies to synergize and ensure policies translate into tangible results.
The success of any administration relies not only on the strength of its policies, but also on how effectively those policies are executed. Together we can strengthen coordination, enhance accountability, and reinforce a collective resolve to deliver on the Renewed Hope agenda. Let us strive to make government work better, faster and smarter for the Nigerian people.
The real challenge, however, lies in sustained implementation and accountability rather than on paper.
We're looking at how we can move from mandate to impact, how every policy that the government articulates result in direct impact to Nigerians, because the purpose of governance itself is to impact positively on the life of Nigerians. So all we need to do is to sharpen our eyes to ensure that we are focused with clarity on what it is that Mr. President is doing that has a direct impact of Nigerians.
Papers delivered by facilitators dwelled on how to work out modalities that will help them in the task of building collaborative frameworks.
Working in silence, you cannot achieve anything. You have to come together, put the heads together, and collaborate in order to see that all this monitoring and evaluation of projects are done collectively.
At the end of the exercise, we are hoping that agencies and commissions will improve on their performance in line with the cardinal objective of the present administration.
Each agency will have clearly defined deliverable and quarterly key performance indicators, according to the SGF, with 15 agencies participating, including the Federal Road Safety Commission. Garba Muhammad Natala, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has called for calm amongst Nigerians, assuring that his government is taking concrete steps towards ensuring better security of lives and property of all citizens and residents in the country. The president conveyed this message through the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, and the Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, who just met with him in the State House. During the meeting, the Information Minister disclosed that the issue of the U.S. government threats of military action in Nigeria came up. The minister assured that the government is already ahead with steps to record greater results in the fight against insecurity.
Only last week or 2 weeks ago, Mr. President, in his own desire to rekindle the security architecture of the country, reinvigorated the hierarchy of the armed forces. A new chief of defense staff and other service chiefs were appointed. Now, this is all all the issues that came out of the United States. So that tells me that Mr. President has been working assiduously to ensure that Nigeria is a country that remains safer for all Nigerians to live in. We're looking at all the issues, and we don't want to overheat the discussions, but work is ongoing, and we're also opening the channels of communication so that the international community will understand what Nigeria has been doing better, and also what we intend to further do to ensure that whatever concerns there are, either domestically here or from the international community, are answered.
Minister, you said some steps have been taken, going by what you have just said. Nigerians have been suggesting so many things, including having a dialogue with the religious bodies and all of that, diplomatic means. What precisely is the government doing in this regard?
Well, it's a multiple approach. You know that discussions with the leadership of the religious groups is an ongoing effort. Mr. President has been meeting with them, and of course he will continue to do that. They're all Nigerians, and he is leading them, and so they are of course an important stakeholder in the Nigerian project. So yes, Mr. President will continue to engage with them. Mr. President will continue to engage with the international community, not just the United States, everyone, the regional bodies, the continental bodies, and everyone that we think has a role to play in ensuring that Nigeria succeeds in ridding this country of these criminal elements that are helping the world to drive this narrative so that Nigeria will have a very bad name. And we know that this is not who we are as a country. So for us to be characterized as a country that is not tolerant when it comes to religion is not accurate. This is absolutely false. Nigeria has Muslim and Christian and even those who do not believe in any of these religions. And our constitution guarantees that everyone should practice his faith without let or hindrance. And Mr. President is going to respect that to the letter. So again, yes, we have these security challenges, but nowhere has there been any decision to favor one religion or the other, or to inflict violence over one religion. What has happened is that we have these extremists that are driving this narrative, And the desired outcome for them is to see that this country is divided, and we want to caution Nigerians to look deeper. This is a time for us to reflect on our nationhood, to reflect on our unity, to come together. This is not the time for division. It's not a time for rhetoric. It's not a time for politics. It is a time for nation building, a time for calling for everyone, to come together so that we can continue to have the Nigeria of our dream.
And that concludes the news desk at 3 on NTA News 24. Many thanks for watching. I am Chinenye Moe.